Hi, hello and welcome back to F1 Challenge VB. My name is Mephisto and our epic journey through the history of Formula 1 continues today with the 6th round of the 1952 season, the German Grand Prix. Sorry about the long delay guys, but I had some health issues. And honestly, I'm not yet feeling 100%, but I couldn't go on for another week without doing something, so I'm back. And thanks to those who wished me well, it felt quite nice to know that you care. But now on to the video. The 1952 German Grand Prix was held on the 3rd of August. It had 35 entries, 34 of which took part in the race, and in the end there were a staggering 22 retirements. The race consisted of 18 laps, completed in 3 hours, 6 minutes and 13 seconds. Ascari started the race from pole, Farina was right beside him in second, Trintignant next to him in third, behind them were Manzon in fourth and Piero Taruffi rounded up the top 5. The race, to no one's surprise, was won by Ascari, followed by Farina in second, 14.1 seconds behind. The third spot was taken by Rudi Fischer, who finished 7 minutes 10.1 seconds behind. Piero Taruffi finished 4th, 1 lap down, and Jean Bera came home in 5th, also 1 lap down. The fastest lap was set by Alberto Ascari and it took him 10 minutes 5.1 seconds to complete the lap. So we're back at the Nordschleife, an absolutely amazing circuit which starts off with a relatively long start-finish straight. However, the run down into turn 1 is not all that long. Then comes turn 2, a long right-hander where you will need to feather the throttle in order to make it through. And now onto this straightaway going parallel to the start-finish straight. It leads into turn 3, then turn 4, 2 medium speed left-handers. After this comes a series of slow speed corners, not shown in the video. Later on we come into this medium speed right-hander that goes under the bridge. It has a name but I can't really remember. Care needs to be taken through here because if you come in too hot, you run the risk of crashing into the foot of the bridge, and that could end your race. Next we come into this slow left-hander, then up the hill into this blind right-hander. Again, care needs to be taken as you crest the hill. Use too much power and you can very easily lose the car here. It is going to be even trickier once we'll get cars with rear-mounted engines towards the end of the decade. And we now see an example of how not to take the carousel. You need to keep the car in the bowl, and it's actually more difficult than you think. Then again, I'm also quite rusty since I haven't raced for over a week now. Next we come through one of the most annoying corners in my opinion. It is the slow left-hander just before the mini carousel, which we're going through right now. It's slightly faster than the carousel. Despite that, care needs to be taken on the exit as it's quite easy to lose the car. Next we come onto the very long back straight, the only place on the circuit where you can afford to take it a little bit easy. It's actually quite welcome given the relentless nature of the circuit. Finally we come through the final part of the circuit leading on to the main straight, and that's a lap around the Nürburgring Nordschleife. And here we are in qualifying. This is my one and only lap just because the circuit is so bloody damn long. And that is a 8 minute 44.2 second lap. Not very fast. It's actually almost 20 seconds slower than Trintignant's pole time, so not very proud of that, but oh well, what can you do? Really have nothing to say to that. And here we are for the grid walk. We have Piero Taruffi on pole, well done. Alberto Ascari second, Robert Manzon third, Trintignant 4th, and rounding up the top 5 is André Simon. Next is Nino Farina in 6th, Jean Bera 7th, Rudi Fischer is 8th, Mike Hawthorne 9th, Andy Higgs starts from a mediocre 10th, Dennis Spohr 11th, Alan Brown 12th, Jose Froilan Gonzalez starts from 13th, 14th is Ken Wharton, Luigi Villoresi 15th, De Graffenried 16th, Peter Collins in the Alta is 17th, Paul Frere is 18th, Felice Bonetto, interestingly enough, is down in 19th, and starting from 20th in the Connaught is Eric Thompson. So here we are at the Nürburgring Nordschleife for the German Grand Prix, the second German Grand Prix within the World Championship since it started in 1950, and we are off, and we immediately move up into ninth. We have Rudi Fischer right in front of us in for one of the other Ferraris. Mike Hawthorne is right behind us in his Cooper, coming into turn one here, and Mike Hawthorne cuts across there cheekily, and we see one of the Simcas there. I think it was Maurice Trintignant, I'm not entirely sure. As we come through turn 2 and go past Mike Hawthorne there. Yes, we move up into 8th as we race down this very long straightaway down into turn 3. Chasing after Rudi Fischer, who is almost 2 seconds ahead of us already, so he's really pushing it. And Mike Hawthorne, I think, crashed into the fence behind us. Not entirely sure though, so we'll have to see the replays. And here we have the start. First of all, very good start from Ken Wharton there, nearly ending up crashing into, I think that's one of the Altas, or actually a Cooper. As we rush down into turn 1, we see Mike Hawthorne catching up and cutting the track in order to get in front of us. Quite cheeky, but well, not much we can do. And we see the number 20 Simca there at the side of the road as we come through turn 2 and overtake Mike Hawthorne. And we have a replay of Robert Manzon, who comes through this right-hander into Flugplatz. I know because we can see the sign there, and one of the Ferraris crashes into the Simca Gordini, breaking its front left wheel, and he is out of the race. Next we have Alberto Ascari in the Ferrari coming through this left-hander, mounts the little hill there and crashes into the fence. He's upside down without a wheel and out of the German Grand Prix. Obviously he cannot continue anymore. Next we have Ken Wharton in his Fraser Nash Cooper, crashes into the fence, goes over and out of the German Grand Prix. He was right behind us actually. And next we have Alan Brown in his Cooper coming around, and we see one of the Altas losing, kind of swerving around. They make contact and they both lose their wheels. Not entirely sure what happened to the number 23 Alta. Maybe a problem with its steering column. This is Felice Bonetto in the Maserati. We saw crashing into the number 23 Alta there, which is Paul Frere's Alta, by the way. And here we see Paul Frere. He comes through this right-hander, starts losing control of his car, swerves around. I really think there's something wrong with the steering column there. Crashes into Alan Brown, and that's the end, as we see Felice Bonetto coming around to and eventually crashes into him. He actually had plenty of room. I don't know why he didn't attempt to get around it. And we see Gonzalez here losing control of his Maserati. Obviously it seems Maserati are not having a good time controlling their cars. I'm not entirely sure, and that is it for Gonzalez. He's upside down and out of the German Grand Prix. As we continue here on lap 1 and going very wide through this right-hander, very dangerous right-hander. In fact, it's very easy to lose the back end there, but we are soldiering on as we come through the carousel for the very first time, making a bang-up job of it. Almost just as bad as it was in the circuit walkthrough, and we lose control and get hit by one of the Ferraris and get demoted to 6th. As we now come around to finish lap 1, and we're challenging Villoresi for position, and we move up into 5th. Villoresi falls to 6th, and we're now chasing after Rudi Fischer, who is 5 seconds of the road. Hopefully we can catch him at some point during the lap. Not entirely sure if that is a possibility, but we'll definitely try to. Villoresi pulls right next to us. He's trying to overtake us. However, we have a slightly better exit, and we get to keep our position for the moment as we come into turn 3. Brake hard. Unfortunately, Villoresi was able to brake a lot later than we could. I could not brake that late, otherwise I would go off the track, but it seems that Villoresi was able to, and he retook his points position. And coming through this section, I saw a wheel there and yellow flags. We also saw that Ferrari that was sideways on the track. Not sure what happened there, but we move up into 4th, chasing after Jean Berra now. And we have a replay of Rudy Fischer in his Ferrari coming around, loses control of his car, crashes into the fence, and over it goes and out of the German Grand Prix. Next we have Piero Taruffi in the other Ferrari, again through the same area, comes around. He doesn't lose a wheel, however he is on the other side of the fence, so he has absolutely no way of getting back onto the track, so that's the end of his race as well. Next we have Mike Hawthorne in his Cooper coming around, loses control of the Cooper, crashes into the fence, breaks his front right wheel, and he is also out of the German Grand Prix. So that's more than half of the drivers out of the race now, as we have Villoresi right on top of us. He really desperately wants to get around us. He actually does that a bit later on, and so does Trintignant as we come into this right-hander, which leads on to the carousel. Let's see if we can do a better job than on the first lap. And fairly decent entry, I guess. Well, at least we stayed in the bowl. However, that wasn't a very nice line through there. And here I am on lap 3, coming around. I go very fast through that right-hander, go wide, hit the little mound there at the side of the road, which flips my car over, and we are out of the German Grand Prix as well. Kind of a bad return to racing, I guess, but could have been worse, couldn't it? I could have ended up retiring on the first corner. So here we have a replay of the of what happened. I come very wide, I realized very late that I couldn't make the corner, lock up the wheels, but it was all too late. And kind of weird physics there. I don't think that it would have flipped over like that in real life, but oh well. And we now take a look at Nino Farina in the 101 Ferrari, crashing out of the lead of the race on the same lap as we did. So that's the end of his race. And we have Jean Berra as well, who kind of jumps the fence there, quite literally jumps the fence, and he is also out of the German Grand Prix. So well, that is kind of it for us. Obviously the race is still going on. We only just started lap 3. There are still things happening. On lap 5, Thompson came into the pits to retire his car. Not entirely sure why, but probably fuel, knowing the game, or something else. Could be something else, right? Next we have Dennis Poor, who I think he kind of overshot his pit box, but well. And next we have Trintignant, who also jumps the fence and retires from the race. Which, well, I guess he's the last retirement. And here we have André Simon coming around to take the win of the German Grand Prix. Very well done to him. Congratulations, I guess. Bad race for us and bad race for pretty much everyone else. However, the last 3 retirements we've seen are all people who actually finished 90% of the race, so they do get to receive points at the end, which is, well, good for them. And we also see that Jean Berra managed to post the fastest lap of the race, a 8 minute 23.4, which is actually around half a second faster than the second fastest lap, if that makes any sense. And here are the retirements. Unfortunately, we are on this table. Didn't really want to be there on the very first race since my health issues, but oh well, I guess it couldn't really be helped. Again, I'm quite a bit out of shape considering I haven't raced at all in the past week, so I don't really know what to say anymore. Not a good race, not a good return to racing, but hopefully our next race will be a bit better. Anyway, here are the career statistics. This was Andy's 21st Grand Prix. His best start was in 5th, no pole positions as of yet. He has set 4 fastest laps. His best finish is 1st, has a total of 8 wins, out of which 1 was at the Indianapolis 500. He has won 1 championship, has a total of 90 points, has retired 8 times as of this race, has experienced 435 out of 578 total laps, has 3 bronze trophies, 1 silver trophy which was received in the previous race, 8 gold trophies, and as an extension 8 podiums. And now here we have the championship tables. Andy Higgs is still in the lead of the championship amazingly. Toulouse de Graffenried is following closely in 2nd. Eric Thompson and Peter Collins share 14 points. Dennis Spohr is in 5th at the moment. And then we have a couple of other points, the last point scorer being Piero Taruffi. And at the very bottom of the tables we see Alberto Ascari, who has yet to finish a race, the man who actually won the 1952 World Drivers' Championship. He has no chance of doing that anymore. In fact, in real life, this was the race in which he actually won the championship. He won the next 2 races as well, however, as you well know, only the top 4 results count, so yeah. But anyway, that is the end of the German Grand Prix. Our next destination is a new place, which is the Dutch Grand Prix held at Zandvoort. I'm really looking forward to it. I really like that circuit. Well, it actually depends on the car. And unfortunately, the Ferrari we are driving is not actually very well suited for the circuit, but we'll have to make do with what we have, I guess. Also, in the description, there is a link to a straw poll where you can go to vote for next season's team if you haven't done so yet. So make sure to check that out if you want to have an impact on Andy's career. So yeah, that is it from me. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you all so much for watching. And as always, stay sharp. Man, it feels good to be back.